Welcome to the USA New Times, where truth has no agenda and every story seeks peace. In a world divided, we shine a light on what unites us: honesty, justice, and love. Inspired by the words of Jesus, love your neighbor as yourself.
Good afternoon and welcome to the US New Times. This is another exciting episode that we are going to be analyzing this afternoon. My name is Innocent Abumusha, as usual, your usual presenter on the US New Times. Today's episode, we are going to look at the rejected appeal for Madame Ingabire Victoire, who was convicted previously for different offenses, and she was forgiven by His Excellency, by the Republican president, after being released from Nyarugenge prison. After a few years, she committed yet other serious offenses, which she was investigated, arrested, and she was put on what you call a provisional detention for 30 days in late July. So on Monday last week, she appealed the pretrial detention in Nyarugenge Intermediate Court, where her application was rejected. We're going to be looking at the grounds that she has expressed, on which grounds she wanted the application to be accepted. And we're also going to discuss the grounds that the court felt were strong enough to maintain her in Nyarugenge prison. Ingabire has been arrested and charged of 7 offenses, which includes public disorder, working with militia groups, genocide denial, and the other charges. Among the charges that she was charged, out of the 7, she had explained that one of the charges had expired because she had appeared before the investigative wings sometimes in 2021, which she feels that this offense had expired. The other ground was that she felt that the judiciary had infringed the powers of the executive, because her arrest came as a result of the court ordering or requesting the prosecution to call her, interrogate her, and then also after interrogating her, they should see if there's no case to answer. This came in a wake-up of where she had gone. She was called, she was summoned by the court to go and answer few of questions that were arising from the ongoing court proceedings of her co-accused, including Theonest and others. So the court invited her in June. She went to the court. She explained whatever she was asked, and the court found that she had something to answer, and the court asked the prosecution to start prosecuting her and bring her before the court of law. So during the questioning, she said that according to the way the law is set up, we have 3 arms of power. We have the legislative, we have the executive, we have also the judiciary. So for her, she felt that the judge asking for someone who is in the executive, that's the prosecution, to arrest her, it was also misuse of power. But the judge earlier in the primary court had explained to her clearly that what the judge had done to ask the prosecution to call her and interrogate her was within the law. She even cited the articles that were used and the paragraph. Number 2, she also claims that her offenses were politically motivated, because she has been called by investigative wings for several times, and she has never failed to unveil herself all the time that she has been called. She also said she respects very well the mess or the prerogative of mess that was granted to her by His Excellency the Republican President of Rwanda. She said she organizes that. Apart from that, maybe just a little bit on the background of what she did. What she did was she organized seminars which were going to train people on how to overthrow a government without using a gun, without using any kind of weapon, but instead just using tactics in the book. She was quoting a book written by a Greek man, Bobovich, which is titled The Blueprint. And she was convinced that this book was going to work because in some countries this formula has been used and it has yielded a lot of results as a result of using it in countries like Egypt, where they threw Mahmoud Mus by the Brotherhood. She also cited in other places like Tunisia, where she wanted the citizen to uprise against the sitting government. Those are among the charges that she's being charged. I think I had explained this earlier on. So the court had judged in its judgment, in its ruling, that according to the way she's behaving after she was forgiven by the president, the court is convinced that she may be released, but she can go and do witness interference. That's number one. She would also evade justice by going into exile. That's why the court had to maintain her in Majerajere, in Nyarugenge correction facility, because they also believed Ingabire Day will be in October, so they believed she could go out and continue organizing that day. Those are the three many reasons why the court had to uphold her conviction, her provisional detention for 30 days. But in doing the 30 days that she'll be convicted, we'll be expecting her to be brought back before the courts of law, where she's going to now join her co-accused, other people who had been appearing in court before, including Theonest, who are going to be also to start now the proceedings of court hearings after this break. As you know, the judiciary workers, the judges, are currently on their annual leave, which is an annual activity every year. Around this time of the year, they go on their annual leave, where they go to take some rest and also reflect on their next activities and their next duties, which have to be carried diligently, and they have to be impartial. They have to be independent. So they need a lot of time to rest. I think that's why the government considers that they go on leave every year and they go uniformly together. The argument of the prosecution argued that Madame Ingabire, during the hearing, the prosecution had to the defamatory social media statements and the contact with sensitive networks abroad. These are some of the things that the prosecution were raising that could arise a lot of issues if she was to be released. According to herself, Madame Ingabire also felt that she was being held without proper charges. She is still denying the charges, but the prosecution says they have got all the enough evidence that they will produce during the court hearing, including the voices, the note voices that she had with a person called Namuhanga. Namuhanga is another controversial journalist who had been arrested on different charges, including working with these outside militias and trying to overthrow the government, and he escaped the custody. I heard something like he was found in Mozambique some time back. The news that I'm not sure of. And then the prosecution proved that they'll bring those evidence. Madame Ingabire also requested the court that they should not consider the new evidence that the prosecution had brought into the system, but the court proving to them that the prosecution had put in something in the evening, and his legal team also put something in the morning. Something they termed as reciprocity. Reciprocity is a principle, is a legal principle where you don't have an agreement on something, but what you do for me today, I can also do it for you tomorrow. Give me today, tomorrow I also give you. It's usually used in some countries where they don't have extradition treaties, where they can extradite offenders. So when you don't have extradition treaty, they use that principle of reciprocity, where you can get an offender from one country. For example, Rwanda can get an offender from Madagascar, and once a Madagascar is here as an offender, Rwanda can also hand in that offender back to Madagascar. That is what the principle of reciprocity means, and this is what the court told her. The court told her that the prosecution put in new evidence, but in the morning also your legal team also put in new evidence. So what you did was reciprocity. The court had nothing more to that. So the court hearing came to an end, and a few days later, the court ruled that she must remain behind bars in Nyarugenge, Nyarugenge Correction Facility, where she will remain awaiting a date for her court hearing. This is what the Intermediate Court of Nyarugenge ruled for that appeal, where she had appeal against her 30 days provisional detention. Madam Ingabire remains in Mageragere for the next 30 days. We shall wait until she comes back, and then we shall wait what will be next. Apart from that, we also had other activities that happened this week, which I think that we can update you can give you some of updates as our ravers, the US New Time followers. I thank you so much for the continued support of subscription. You may continue subscribing so that we keep on giving you more updates on different cases, on world news, on different issues that are pertaining or happening or trending in the world. This week around, we had the M23 AFC movement handing over 20 war prisoners who were caught on front line, Burundians, to the Burundian authorities. We also had the Burundian authorities handing over those from M23 to the authorities of M23, AFC M23. But the controversy here is, imagine a country like Burundi, a third party, coming to hold people who are fighting for their rights. Those are coming from M23. M23 is a group of young people who decided to go and fight for their rights, for the rights of their relatives who have been living as refugees, who have been denied, deprived of their rights, who have been mistreated for decades now by different militia groups, including FDLR, which is also working with Madame Ingabire Victoire. Today they hold people, they take them out of Congo, they take them to Burundi, which I think is not a safe thing, either for the country as Burundi, either for the M23 themselves, and for the Congolese government. This issue brought a lot of mixed feelings in society from different people who thought that the government of Burundi were not supposed to have held M23 fighters and take them back to their country. That was proper misuse of authority or power. We shall wait and see what experts will explain on this issue. It's going straight forward now as we go to the end of our today's episode. We are going to look at the happenings between Ukraine and Russia, where His Excellency President Donald Trump had given ultimatum to the Russian President Vladimir Putin, 8-day ultimatum to end or to cease fire, but Mr. Putin seemed to ignore the directive, and they have agreed to meet on Friday, 15th August 2025 in Alaska, where they are going to meet for the first time since the beginning of the war. This is the first time they're going to meet face to face, because they have been talking over the phone to discuss the possible way of ceasing fire in Ukraine and stop destroying properties, stop displacing people, and stop killing people. I think it's a very good initiative from His Excellency Donald Trump. The initiative is excellent, as we think or feel that it may bring a lasting solution to this crisis that has been in Ukraine for quite some time, which I believe it has also destabilized the world economy in one way or another. So I thank you so much, the lovers of the US New Times, for your attention today. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again tomorrow on another exciting episode. Thank you and good evening.
Welcome to the USA New Times, where truth has no agenda and every story seeks peace. In a world divided, we shine a light on what unites us: honesty, justice, and love. Inspired by the words of Jesus, love your neighbor as yourself,